a Saturday or on a Sunday. Then on the same Sunday, I called the captain and the colonel, telling them that this informer is now hired to go and kill Mr. Makaka. Can we block him? On Monday the 3rd, I also called the colonel again. I asked the colonel, can we take away the car that we bought for this informer and an AK that we bought for this informer and keep it to ourselves? We will give the informer these equipment later on, because in the next week, they are going to kill Mr. Makaka. I want to answer this question in this fashion. One of the killers is late now. He was an informant handled by us, by our office.
I saw that in your
which is the Office of Crime Protection.
Just a minute, yes. Just a minute, witness. I saw that either in your statement or in one of your annexures. I saw that. I'm asking you a different question, and my question is, when those that were going to kill Mr. Makaka told you about the plot, did they also tell you that in carrying out the plot, they were going to be assisted by the people whose names you gave to the minister? It's a very simple. They gave you those names.
Yes.
Yes. And you
yes,
say,
that's correct.
And you say these people were your superiors.
Yes, Chair.
And you say you could have prevented Mr. Makaka's murder if something had been done between the time you were told of the plot or about the plot and the time when Mr. Makaka was actually killed. Not so?
That's correct, Chair.
And you then, all right, the superiors that you reported to, from the answers you've given thus far, I assume are the same superiors whom you were told about by those who advised you of the plot, correct?
That's correct, Chair.
And were you serious about wanting to prevent Mr. Makaka's murder?
I did everything in my power, Chair.
Were you serious about wanting to prevent the murder?
I was serious, Chair.
And you report to the very people whom you've been told are going to assist in the murder?
They are very senior, Chair, in KZN. I spoke to them so that we can block the murder, but they refused.
You report with a view to preventing the murder, and you report to the very people whom you've been told are actually going to assist with the murder.
I want to answer this question, but the question is confusing.
There's nothing confusing about the question. Nothing confusing at all. Please answer it.
Okay. When I got the information, I reported the information to the people who were going to assist. But those people at the time, they didn't know that they will be asked to assist. The informer spoke to me alone, and then I related the message to my commander, to my immediate commander, in a level of a captain. I won't mention the name. But then, at the time, my superiors didn't know that the hitmen will ask them for assistance. Number two, the equipment that was going to be used in the killing of Makaka came from the very same superiors.
And then, but he said, there's conditions though. I also want you to do something for me. And I asked him, what is it? He said, there is a case opened against him from IPID, in IPID. So he said there's a guy that they tortured, and the guy that they tortured opened a case against them, and then I must convince, because the guy stays, I also have a house in Midstream. So he said, because you stay in Midstream, I'll tell you the name of the guy and check if you know the guy. And I said, tell me, and then Midstream is not that big. Maybe I might know the guy. And he told me the name of the guy, and I told him, actually, this guy, his son goes to the same school as my son. So, but what I will do is, I will ask my wife to ask his wife if he can facilitate a meeting for me to meet the guy so that I can convince him. And he said, I must tell the guy that, listen, he must drop the charges against him, and also he must add that the people who actually compelled him to lay charges against him is Minister Mkunu and General Sibia. However, I couldn't get the guy and convince him to do what he wanted to do. And I thought maybe that was one of the reasons also that maybe I got arrested, because I didn't deliver what I promised him. So that was the purpose of my meeting with him there in the Pels.
I'll leave it there.
General, let me tell you why your evidence is not probable. The affidavit starts on page 7 of the dossier that you shared. The dossier itself is 200 pages long. And it starts on page 65.
220, Commissioner Kumar.
65 for file 1 of 3. The question the chair is asking you, the very first thing you should have seen is the details of the individuals, the case number, the sub-stamp, the ID numbers, and the 6 police officers who are respondents in the complaint. Because the affidavit is page 7, but pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those are the details of the individual police officers. Starts on page 65.
I'm there, Commissioner.
And it's Annexure SEN2.
I'm there, Commissioner.
The first page, there's a police stamp. It's a SEP stamp, so it tells you that this is a SEPS document. Then you have the 2 complainants, Nangi and Brides. Then you have the Metro Police Respondent 1, Mr. Mohammed. Then you have Respondent 2, Mr. Yassin. Then you have Respondent 3, Mr. Yakub. Then you have Respondent 4, Captain, 5, Constable, 6, Colonel, 7, KZN Police Commissioner General Mkwanazi, 8, Colonel Governor. And their details are there, their personal details. The affidavit starts on page 7, which would be 71 of that bundle. And much later, even Mr. Nangi's ID number, you have no business sharing Mr. Nangi's ID number. You have no business sharing his cell phone number. You are breaking the law. Everything that you are doing, you've got dockets in that dossier. These are SAPS documents. You were not just sharing an affidavit, you were sharing the entire dossier relating to the Nangi case. Over 200 pages worth of it. And there's no way those documents could have been in the public domain. Unless you can show this commission which newspaper article annexed to all these 220 odd pages, such that they would have been in the public domain. Unless you can show us that, I'm not prepared to accept that this were in the public domain.
I have commented yesterday. I'm not going to comment now, Commissioners.
I'll just...
But
yes.
I didn't want to get into it.
Yes, and then on 10 March 2025 is when you send Mr. Matlala the attachment, the 220 pages of confidential information pertaining to Mr. Nangi. And what I want to suggest to you, General, is that your response that you were merely forwarding on information as a warning to him is not correct. That in fact you and Mr. Matlala were in conversation about Mr. Nangi and that document that you sent him in the context of the withdrawal of that complaint, trying to persuade him to withdraw the complaint against Mr. General Mkhunazi. So that's what I'm putting to you, that it wasn't merely for his information and warning, but that in fact it was part of an ongoing engagement between you and Mr. Matlala.
Thank you, Commissioners. First thing first, the document is not a confidential document. As I've indicated yesterday, I read the affidavit and then I saw the addresses, I sent it. I still stand by my response yesterday. Commissioners, General Sinona is not a suspect on the case that was opened by Mr. Nangi. General Sinona is not a suspect. That one, maybe even if they go and ask Mr. Nangi or read all the affidavits there, General Sinona is not listed as a suspect. I don't have a reason to go and ask another person to tell another person to withdraw a docket where I'm not even a suspect. Even if I was listed as a suspect, I wouldn't have informed or persuaded another person to withdraw a case docket. I'll go to court and defend myself and my innocence in court. Like I came here, I went to my legal team because I know I'm called a witness, but the people who came here, they implicated me in some sort of, when my understanding, I am a respondent because this is a commission. I'm called a witness, but I am a respondent to the allegations against me. So General Sinona was never, ever listed as a suspect. So I don't see any reason. The inference that is drawn by the advocate, it is totally incorrect. Thank you, Commissioners.
So, General, the page I'd like to take you to is page 10. Okay, at the top of page 10, it actually starts on page 9. You'll see it's a message from you. And you say to Mr. Matlala, I will be in Pretoria next week. I request that if things are favorable, let's finalize the contract for those guys who assisted us. You see that?
I see.
Okay, so what are you talking about here? Let's start bit by bit. Who are those guys who assisted you and Mr. Matlala?
Commissioners, I just want to check this message. Let me go there.
That's on page 9, General. So you'll see the sender, bottom of page 9, and then it continues on to page 10.
Yes. Thank you very much, Commissioner. On this one, I assume, if my recollection is well, that it was in line with the third party who was assisting him, whom I have referred to talk to him in relation to the thing of the risk management. If you look at page 3 at the bottom, when he was talking about the project, when I responded yesterday, it should be the very same people who have assisted. The language might be us, but it's him in the real perspective.
So you're saying that those guys are who again? It's the
A
purpose
third party.
a third party assisting with risk assessment.
Correct.
It's more than one person.
Yes.
And when you use the word us, you actually mean you.
You know, I'm saying in the right context, it's him, not me. We commissioners, sometimes when we talk, we happen to use not that English that is in the books, but it is not us per se, as both of us, but it is him in his contract in relation to the risk assessment.
I want to ask you to think about that a bit more, because you sent that message to him at 1957. He responds to you at 2003. So very soon after you sent him this message.
To send me his FICA documents, I sent a message and called. He's not responding. So that's the WhatsApp you're referring to, about the FICA documents.
Correct.
Okay. And then later on page 18, if we start on page 16, 17, 18, we can see that it was Mr. Matlala who was going to pay for this property. I think that much is clear from the WhatsApp on page 18, right?
I see here they are talking.
Because he's talking to the agent, and the agent says on the OTP under point number 34, can you state how you want to make payment? Do you see that?
I see that.
Yes. So from this, it's quite clear that it was Mr. Matlala who was going to make payment for this apartment.
I see here they were asking him, how do you want to make payment?
Yes.
But I don't know. I can't say yes or no, or what was their arrangements, their commissioners.
But that's what it looks like from this
It looks like, but I can't say that it is, Commissioner.
Yes. Because it leaves me with the impression that Mr. Matlala, the whole arrangement was about Mr. Matlala purchasing an apartment for your son. If you don't know, you don't know. If you care to comment, you can comment about that.
Commissioner, my son is a business person.
With Mr. Matlala and the people that you say you referred him to for risk assessment.
Commissioners, here I was just making a follow-up. I didn't participate in the entire process. I was making a follow-up about the finalization of that contract. But it's not a contract that I am a partner to it or whatever. I was making a follow-up whether that contract is just that maybe I utilized my English wrongfully when I say us.
No, I'm not at us yet.
Yes.
I'm still at the contract because I would like to know, how did you know as at the 15th of January 2025, how did you know that they haven't finalized the contract unless you were involved in whatever was going on? Why would you know that? It's not your business. It's Mr. Matlala's business, according to you, that you're referring him for risk assessment. How and why would you know that there's a contract that must still be completed between them, that must be finalized?
Commissioners, I'm saying I was making a follow-up.
Yes.
Yes. It is
to finalize the contract.
I was making a follow-up if we did finalize the contract. It is unfortunate that I utilized the word us, but I was making a follow-up.
You are requesting him, General. You're not asking for an update. It's not an update you're asking for. And please don't say unfortunate use of language, of English. No, it won't work. You're not asking for an update. You say you request that we finalize the contract. So you know the contract is not yet finalized. And how do you know that the contract is not finalized unless you are much more involved with this than you testified yesterday, or the impression you created yesterday? You knew the contract is not finalized.
As I've indicated, Commissioners, I wanted to know if this contract was finalized, because when we talked that time, he agreed to engage with them. He agreed to engage with those third parties. Hence, I didn't participate. Then I was asking him if this contract, he did finalize it, because the contract is a question of whether did they come, did they give him the thing, did he finalize it? I was checking if he did finalize it.
Okay. General, that can't be, and you know it's not. Your language is very clear. I request that if things are favorable, let's finalize the contract. You know that's not a request. That's not a request for an update. It's not an inquiry. You know as you sit there that in fact what this is you're asking Mr. Matlala, let's complete this contract. Let's do what is necessary to finalize it. You know that. And please accept that we also know what the English language you have used here means, because otherwise it's as if you're taking us for fools. You know, you tell us what you want, and then we're not reading the same text. In this text, you say, I request that we finalize the contract. And it says exactly that. So that's what it says, and I'm not asking you for comment further about it. That's what it says. It's language, it's clear. You're asking him to finalize the contract. That's one. Two, you say, for those guys who assisted us. So by now you have received, you know that Mr. Matlala has received assistance, whether it's his company or both your company, but you know from this text that assistance has been provided. So you further evidence that you are much more intimately involved with whoever you are referring to here, the third party, the guys that you are referring to. You have insight. They assisted us. It's not a slip of the English language. It's a fact you are stating, the guys who assisted us. So you are much more involved than you've let on to us. Lastly, the us, it's not a slip of the English language. It's not sometimes we speak us. You're speaking about something that you and Mr. Matlala are involved with these guys who have assisted you, and that you need to finalize the contract. That's what this text is. And please do not say to us things that suggest you think I think we've all done English, at least up to matric. And this is simple English. There's no difficult words that require a dictionary. Your text is clear. I request that if things are favorable, let's finalize the contract for those guys who assisted. And then us, you and Mr. Matlala and whoever else you are referring to. That's what it is.
And just one last point. Remember your earlier discussion with Mr. Matlala.
Do you wish to comment on this, General?
I was advised not to comment, and I'll take it.
No.
But do you agree that what this points to is that it actually points to the opposite of what you are suggesting to us, which is that you wanted to terminate the relationship? It actually shows that you were still very friendly towards him. Do you accept that that's what this evinces, this shows?
I'm saying I took too much time, too long to tell you.
Accept that that's what the texts show. They indicate
that I'm lying, Commissioner.
No. Do you accept that these texts actually show the opposite of what you are suggesting to us? They actually show that you were still very friendly towards Mr. Matlala. Do you accept that?
Friendly but not close.
Do you accept that they show that you were friendly towards him?
I accept that I was still talking to him.
In a friendly manner?
Of course, we are not fighting, Commissioner.
Do you accept that you were communicating with him in a friendly manner?
I accept I was communicating with him in a friendly manner.
Thank you.
And let's start with this one. The alleged criminal mastermind, Vusumuzi Matlala, is set to appear in the Johannesburg High Court with his wife, Tsakani, and 3 co-accused. They face more than 20 charges, including those of attempted murder, conspiracy, and money laundering. 11 charges relate to 3 separate shooting incidents, including a failed attack on Matlala's ex-girlfriend, Tebogo Tobejane. They are also accused of laundering over 120,000 rand linked to the murder plot. Zaniko Mhlaba is at court already and will be covering those proceedings live for us. Zaniko, good morning. I've highlighted for our viewers the portfolio of charges that Matlala is facing. Of course, his name's come up again. It's on the mouths of many South Africans who would have been watching the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday. So just talk to us about expectations outside or inside court. Good morning.
A very good morning, Iman. Yes, indeed, Mr. Kat Matlala is someone with some colorful profile as far as the legal fraternity is concerned, but also when it comes to some of the government forums that have been established to really look into alleged corruption and capture of criminal law enforcement agencies in South Africa. But for these particular papers, he will be in the Johannesburg High Court for the pre-trial hearing, which is a culmination of various court proceedings that he has been attending over the year, especially regarding the 3 incidents he has been named and charged for. These incidents date back, the first one date back to 2022, where a taxi boss, Mr. Sibanyoni, was gunned down in the northern parts of Gauteng. And of course, it is alleged by the state that that particular incident, does have or does link Mr. Matlala to the organization of that hit on that former boss who survived an attempted hit. And of course, the issue that is really, or the evidence that is allegedly, according to the state, linking him is a vehicle that was used, a white BMW, which was used, by the alleged people who were, commissioned to carry out that hit. And of course, it was also revealed that that BMW is linked to his former girlfriend. So that's the first case Mr. Matlala is having to attend to today. The second one is the attempted, killing of his former girlfriend, Ms. Tobejane, in Johannesburg while she was traveling in some suburbs in Johannesburg. And it is alleged by the state that he's one of the people, who commissioned that hit through hitmen. So that's the second case. The third case that Mr. Matlala is linked with alongside other accused is the latest one, an attempted hit on a Johannesburg DJ here in Gauteng as well. So these are this is the portfolio of criminal charges and cases he will be attending to. Remember, he had been attending these cases separately. However, the prosecuting team then at the Alexander Magistrate Court, proposed that these cases be consolidated into one case so that they can be able to handle it all in one. And that is why now all those cases will be handled in one trial here at the Johannesburg High Court. These are the cases that were attended in various regions of Gauteng and here in Johannesburg, in the Vaal as well. But all those have been consolidated and they will go for trial at the Johannesburg High Court. The case itself, or the trial itself, Iman, has been moved from Alexander to the Johannesburg High Court, with the prosecuting team stating that Mr. Matlala and his co-accused are facing serious charges. Therefore, when it comes to the jurisdiction, the Johannesburg High Court becomes a better platform for it to be able to handle these particular matters. So that's what we can expect. But we are not on trial yet, Imad, as you rightfully said in your intro, that this is a pre-trial. Well, during a pre-trial session, that's where both the state and legal teams need to consolidate, their legal arguments, especially when it comes to the state. It needs to hand over a clear docket or dockets to the defense, and the defense then will also expect to get witness statements from the state, potential evidence, and actually potential witnesses. And then, the defense will be able then to go through all those matters, raise any issues they might have so that they go and prepare. Basically, it's about consolidating the arguments, the evidence, but also setting a time frame for the trial itself in terms of how much will it take for this court to be able to conclude this case beyond the trial. So that's what we can expect today. So this trial is the pre-trial sessions are done with the accused present, with the presiding officer, in this case the judge, but also both teams, the prosecuting team and the legal team. So that's what we can expect today. In an hour or so, Iman will be able then to dig deeper into the profile of Mr. Matlala, but also the charges leveled against him and the seriousness of those charges. So we will be doing that maybe in the next hour or so, Iman.
We'll keep close watch on that. Tanika Mhlaba, thank you.
Aku